Hi folks, so it's Guy here. I've gotten a visit from Vicki Goodwin, who's a member of the Value X community, and she is our guru on everything oil and energy, and has been extraordinarily helpful in explaining to me all sorts of developments in the energy market. So I'm going to ask her a few questions and have fun with it. Thanks. So Vicki, what's going on in the oil markets?
I think we've gone through a period post the OPEC decision at the end of May where the market was extremely oversold, and it's begun to bounce off those lows and is now turning to what should be the peak of the summer crude refining run season, and I'm looking for things to go a little bit higher in the weeks ahead.
Can you, Vicki, I don't know much about oil, as you know, but I see Yemen doing all sorts of stupid things. Can you just explain what's going on in Yemen and how that affects the oil market?
Certainly, I think what we've seen since the back end of last year is that the Houthi attacks on shipping has effectively closed the Suez Canal to a lot of traffic, predominantly crude coming into Europe through the Suez Canal, and also diesel and jet fuel. What that's meant is that all of these cargoes have had to take the long way round the Cape of South Africa in order to avoid transiting through the canal. Further, certain aligned political countries, such as Russian crude that was transiting the canal, had been given effectively a safe passage, but we've seen attacks step up in recent weeks, and vessels have been hit that seem to have no apparent connection to Israel or to the UK or US, and maybe we're transporting crude oil to India, or we've seen now an escalation in attacks where the Houthis are actually using submarine drones and sinking boats. So the risk is absolutely not diminished there.
Briefly, does that reduce, I presume that Egypt makes money out of ships going through the canal. So does that reduce Egypt's foreign exchange income?
It certainly reduced revenues, transit fees that they would receive for the use of the canal, and there doesn't appear to be an immediate end in sight to that.
So last question. So we're supposed to have an embargo on Iranian oil, but effectively the way I understand it is Iranian oil just gets sold to other countries. Who's buying Iranian oil and at what price?
Price is not particularly transparent. It's below typical market values, but it is all moving to smaller Chinese independent refiners. Crude oil itself has very little value outside of a refinery. It needs to be processed to make it into anything useful. And at the moment, the Iranian oil is being disguised and sold into transiting via typically ship-to-ship transfers, rebranded and sold into China.
Wow, fascinating. Anyway, so that's Vicki. Thank you, Vicki. Another installment perhaps at some point. Enjoy.